Welcome back, everybody. We're just getting started here. IGN Live from San Diego Comic-Con. My name is Damon Hatfield. I'm joined up here on the balcony by Steve Butts, Marty Sleva, Brian Altano. We're here to talk about the games of Comic-Con. It's not just comics and movies and TV shows. There are games here. We've already seen a bunch of them. Why don't we start with Sunset Overdrive? What's Microsoft showing here?
Yeah, so I got to play Sunset Overdrive for the first time. Obviously, that's the Insomniac's next game, the big Xbox One exclusive coming out this fall. And I thought it was a lot of fun. It was just sort of big, chaotic, end of the world. The traversal's like Jekka Radio, but you're still, all your weapons are crazy, like Ratchet and Clank. It was a lot of fun and really colorful.
Yeah, it's sort of like a graffiti mural turned into a video game. It's bright. There's lasers everywhere. There's things exploding. When they explode, they have words in them, sort of like the 1950s Batman. It'll be like pop. Or I swear I caught a brap in there.
There was not a brap. I believe that was Boom.
You were ready to
setting up his lawsuit.
Claim trademark infringement.
Exactly. But yeah, it's really cool, and it's just it gets back to what I think video games were a few years ago and back in the 90s, where they're just really fun and ridiculous and over the top before they got really serious.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a whole movement in the industry to get back to that right now.
Yeah, I like the fact that there's room for The Last of Us and there's room for something silly like this.
Yeah. Totally.
I like how we referred to the 90s as a few years ago.
Yeah. It's hard to believe.
What year is it?
Steve, you got to check out Sunset Overdrive yet?
I got to see these guys play it. I didn't get hands-on with it myself, but yeah, I agree with everything they said. I get a real strong jet grind vibe from this game. I like the visual style. Some people are a little down on it, but I love it.
Really? Big fans.
Yeah, it's nice to see some colors in
exactly.
for once in a while. One of this fall's most anticipated games is Evolve, and that game is here too. What are they showing?
They basically showed another 4 hunters versus 1 monster. In this case, it's a Kraken. That's the newest monster that's been revealed. We got a chance to play it again. No new hunters, so we were kind of recycling some of the content we had before. But yeah, it was super fun. The Kraken is really, really challenging because he's up in the air, and it kind of reorients your whole perspective in terms of fighting. Our group sadly did not make it.
Oh no!
It's always a weird thing when you're demoing these games with new people because like they don't understand like what you need to do going into it, and the medic always dies, and you're like, I'm just gonna walk away. We're done here.
So you didn't play as the Kraken; you played as the hunters.
Didn't get to play as a Kraken.
I don't usually come away from first-person shooters going, I'm really impressed with the animation.
Yeah.
That's like kind of low on the list.
Yeah.
But Evolve is nailing it. I mean, granted, I don't know what a Kraken looks like in real life, but it's pretty close, I'd imagine.
I just have this idea of like this Kraken in a mocap studio with lots of little
Yeah.
all over.
He's such a diva.
What I want to see next though is a new level because we haven't seen a new environment yet, and the one that we've seen a couple of times now is interesting, but it's getting a little old.
Yeah, that's the thing with Evolve. Everything we've seen has been awesome so far, but we just need to see what are the rest of the levels like. What's the third monster like? What are the other hunters going to be like? Because everything that's there works, but I just want to see how far they're able to push it.
Yeah, super fun.
Steve, you were just at the Witcher 3 panel.
Yeah, we did the Witcher 3 panel and then a roundtable afterwards. They showed an extended 30-minute gameplay demo in real time. You could tell it was real time because they had tons of audio issues during it. But yeah, it's everything the Witcher fans want. It's super gritty. It's dark. It's got that crazy Polish thing where I don't know what's up with the Polish people, Marty, but they're really
definitely not shaven, that's for sure.
They're really depressed. But yeah, it's got everything you want. We saw the guys fight a werewolf. There was a little blue kid who had lost his voice. He's like a little magical imp type guy.
It is everything I want.
Yeah, exactly. But they talked about that. They talked about sort of changing the difficulty level in the game so that they're going to allow players to set their own difficulty level, which I think is a good move for the game.
Yeah.
You know, Dark Souls and Bloodborne have done a really good job of sort of attracting hardcore folks to their games. And Witcher has always had that reputation as well, but I think they're tending to attract a more mainstream audience now with this one by letting people say, look, I want a little easier time in this.
Yeah.
Witcher 3 is for February next year, I believe.
February 15th, I believe.
Yeah,
2015. And they're releasing day and date with that. They announced Dark Horse is working on a coffee table lore book. So it's going to have lots of art and lots of story elements that include all the stuff that's in Witcher 3.
Is it the lore of coffee tables or the lore of The Witcher?
I almost thought you said they're working on a coffee table. I'm like, man, how does this thing look?
I would love a book, The Coffee Tables of Witcher 3.
Well, a game that is coming late this year is Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD Remix.
Yeah, I got to play a little bit of it at the Square Enix booth on the floor. I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. I think I put like 70, 80 hours in this game back in 2005. Damon's shaking his head. And so I got to play the updated Christmas Town level with Jack Skellington, fighting alongside me. I got so excited again. Like I have this sort of my deep dark gaming secret is Kingdom Hearts, but I'm sort of terrified because there's so many games coming out this fall, and massive games too, that I'm like, come December, am I going to devote another 70 hours to this game that I've already played through before? So I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to hate myself for it, but I'm going to love it all. So, yeah.
Nintendo brought a ton of games to Comic-Con. We got to play a bunch of them at the preview event last night. Captain Toad remains a standout. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I loved Hyrule. I loved Smash. I loved all those games. So Captain Toad for me was the one I came away with saying, I want to play more of that game.
Yeah.
You and I were talking about Monument Valley.
Yeah.
And we recently played that and got some similar vibes from it in terms of changing perspectives and being really clever about the platforming.
Yeah,
So-
and it really builds upon, Nintendo's done a really good job, especially with like Kirby Epic Yarn and the upcoming Yoshi Yarn game of like creating games that kind of feel tactile, like they feel like they exist in the real world. And a lot of the levels feel like you're looking into a diorama, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think they did this awesome thing of just sort of grabbing an art style and nailing it. There's no like loose threads anywhere. No pun intended for Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Hey, I see what you did.
But yeah, I do like the self-enclosed puzzles. I think it's really interesting. We heard it's going to be retail and digital.
That was a big surprise.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's going to be, a big game with a lot of puzzles. We got to see, aside from the puzzles that felt like the 3D World ones, a giant boss level against this dragon that's in a volcano and you're running up, and that was cool. And then the minecart level that felt like Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
It, like turned into first person and you're throwing turnips at enemies, and it was like, this is the closest thing to Pokemon Snap in like 15 years, and I'm excited.
I like the fourth one where you're sliding the different doorways around the house and experimenting with when I walk in, where am I going to come out.
It
was
felt
super
like
clever.
Portal.
Yeah,
it did.
Really
It
I feel
really
like
did.
the four levels were this great, proof of concept, not in a pejorative term, but it was just like, hey, we can push these ideas really far, and so I'm excited to see, later this year what it's like.
Brian, what was your impression of that exclusive mode for Smash Brothers on 3DS?
So I like it. It feels a little long right now. I think 5 minutes is a long time to sort of jump in there.
Yeah.
But I think for someone like me, it's instead of playing online, it's a cool place to kind of just test my moves out. And we were told that you can unlock character trophies and stuff in there. So for me, it's going to be more about unlocking a lot of the single-player content rather than leveling up my character to bring him out into multiplayer. Because I usually play Smash Brothers single-player. I'm weird like that.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy. But
They always talk about that guy.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool. This was the show where Smash Brothers 3DS really clicked with me for the first time. I had some struggles playing it at E3. I went in playing it like I used to play the GameCube and the Wii ones. And once I got around some of the control issues that were there to begin with, it all connected for me. So I'm really excited for it.
Marty got to play a new character in Hyrule
Yeah,
Warriors.
Darunia.
Yeah, we think.
The Elden Caves.
Yes.
We spent a long time trying to remember these names.
Yeah.
He's
a Goron.
He is a Goron. Yeah, he's the king of the Gorons. If you played Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess, you'll know who he is. I think... So I'm not a big Dynasty Warriors fan, and I understand, like, some people are. Like, I just don't... It doesn't really grab me, but I feel like I'm going to play through this just for the Zelda love alone.
Yeah.
Like the idea of being able to play as Link and Zelda and Sheik and Fi and Midna and all these characters from the series, to me, it's really exciting. Going up against all these enemies, that's really cool. So I'm almost viewing this more as this like sort of weird museum than an actual game that I'm really excited to play.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I was a little down on it because I was like, I'm not a big Dynasty Warriors guy, and we hadn't heard about the new Zelda for Wii U yet.
Yeah.
This now feels kind of like an appetizer to that main course. So had it been the only thing on the table, I'd be a little upset. But I like that it sort of will get my Zelda nostalgia back, hold me over until the new one comes out for Wii U. And, yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
What about Bayonetta 2? That game's been a long time coming.
Yep.
Now we know it's coming October, but they won't lock down a release date yet.
Won't lock down the date, but yeah, I'm excited for it. Like, I'm a big Bayonetta fan, big fan of crazy action, and honestly, the game is just as insane and hectic as the first one. I don't know. I'm really stoked.
Yeah, I think even as someone who's not very good at Bayonetta, I got to play it and got a little better last night. And, it's completely insane just how violent it is.
Yeah.
And when you pull off moves, even when you don't do them well, it's still very
just looks
satisfying.
really cool.
Yeah.
I love that for a Nintendo game, we can say it's crazy how violent it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
it's one of the few.
That game surprises me. I was also surprised by Phoenix Wright versus or Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. The game opens with this horrifyingly gruesome scene. It's crazy. It's like really dark and hardcore. We actually have a question from one of our viewers here on Facebook that we can bring up. Greg Alvarez, do you think video games will have a bigger presence at Comic-Con as the years go on?
It's weird. I mean, we were talking it's less this year than
Right.
it was
Yeah.
last year, but last year was new consoles.
Yeah.
And
But there's a lot of huge panels we're going to. So on the show floor itself, it feels like it's a bit less of a presence, but at the same time, there's a lot of events that are going on off-site. There's huge panels, like, we saw the Witcher panel. I had a Halo. There's 2 Halo panels. There's Assassin's Creed. There's Far Cry. So there are big things. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard for, E3 is video games' big show, and it's sort of like they have to play second fiddle to, stuff like the Avengers and Batman and Game of Thrones here.
But the thing is, Telltale's got a Game of Thrones game. Witcher's got a comic book.
Yeah.
I mean, when we come to Comic-Con, it really, really brings home this point that these franchises and IPs are crossing a lot of different media types right now.
Yeah.
So you can play Batman at the DC booth, right? You can go see the Witcher comic and find out more about the game. So I think games are becoming more of sort of the general current of what goes on here.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is here as a parkour course.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
I think we're going to try to go over there at some point, and we might hurt ourselves. Maybe we'll go on the last day so that we're not just out of commission.
Yeah,
together.
Do go at the very end of all your other responsibilities.
There's advertising everywhere for a giant blockbuster Hollywood movie about video games starring Adam Sandler. There's a Halo digital TV show series about. I mean, so I agree with what you're saying, Steve. The games themselves are spreading a lot more than just being stuck to you being with the controller. Like the actual lore and the realms of them are blowing up into everything else, which
absolutely.
is really cool to see.
Like with coffee table books.
Yeah,
exactly.
And coffee
the
tables.
ultimate multimedia synergy. Coffee table books.
What's some of the video game related content we still have yet to come? I know, Marty, you're going to a Far Cry 4 panel this afternoon, right?
Yeah, there's a Far Cry 4 panel this afternoon. The big thing we have tonight is a Microsoft showcase. So we're going to be seeing, obviously we saw Sunset and Evolve, but we're going to be seeing a lot more. We'll be seeing some more Master Chief Collection. We'll be seeing some more Ori and the Blind Forest, hopefully some new announcements. I think we're going to get hands-on with Alien Isolation and the new Sonic game.
There's Square and Deep Silver.
Square and Deep Silver.
Halo stuff.
Yeah, we're going hands-on first time with Escape Dead Island, which is a sort of, was it like a top-down stealth strategy take on Dead Island?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
Awesome, fantastic. Any other closing remarks before we hand off to the next segment here?
No, it's been a good show. I mean, we've only been here for about 24 hours, but so far it's been an exciting show. I've really dug everything I've seen, and excited for the next couple days.
I want to see you die in Lords of the Fallen more.
That didn't go well.
I want to see you die on the parkour course.
Oh, make for great TV.
We can make that happen.
I did get to see really quick at the Halo Nightfall panel.
Right.
Nightfall is obviously it's sort of the digital series that's going to premiere with Master Chief Collection. But they announced the casting. So, an actor from The Good Wife is playing Agent Locke, who's going to be the main character in Nightfall. But at this panel, they also said that the big news is that Locke is a playable character in Halo 5. The same actor is doing the mocap and the voice work, and that's on the Halo 5 cover, we saw the Master Chief sort of reflection in the water with another Spartan, and that's who that Spartan is. So,
and that series is meant to be sort of like the prequel, like the lead into
yes,
the
it
game.
Is. It was. I believe the exact quote was, "This is a superhero origin story." So it's how Locke came from like a regular soldier to a Spartan.
He got bit by a radioactive Master Chief.
That classic yarn.
We're going to be talking more about Nightfall actually later on here on the show. So
definitely.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking about lots more games, movies, TV, comics, everything you care about more here on IGN Live. Stay tuned.